MIAA Monday back again this week on Monday that I'm able to actually do it on a Monday. So that's nice. As Commissioner Mike Racy joining me once again. And sir, thank you as always for coming on.
You bet. Good to be with you, Chris.
Busy week still in the MIAA. I know we're getting close to the holiday season, the holiday break. I know finals for some schools already underway. Some are actually almost into break at this point, but lots to still talk about. We should probably start with the national championship match over the weekend. Washburn volleyball team making it down there to the national championship game. You were there. Washburn came up just short of the national title, but still an amazing run for another MIAA school.
Yeah, great run, a great season by the Ichabods. I felt great for that group of seniors that decided to come back and play together and make one more run at it. And they had a great season. They ran into a really hot University of Tampa team that was playing on their home court for a national title. And the Ichabods came up just a little bit short. But, national runner-up, went through a grueling MIAA schedule, then came out of the toughest region in Division II for women's volleyball, ranked in the top 10 all season. And, bringing home a second place runner-up finish for the conference. Very, very proud of Coach Heron and his team of what they accomplished this year.
Yeah, I saw one of the media outlets down there in Topeka post I think it was post-game, maybe pre-game interview about why they came back and just how special this group was because of the pandemic. Just coming back, keeping this group together, just seeing another team like that be able to stick together after the pandemic and everything, because people didn't have to come back. I mean, there was the eligibility thing there, but to see how much maybe a program like Washburn means to these student athletes, just what does that say about what Washburn volleyball is to them at this point?
Yeah, I think it's a great endorsement of what the type of experience student athletes have in the MIAA. You've got a volleyball player like Allison Stadler at Washburn who's in her first year of law school, and she decided to play her final year, her COVID season, while being a law student, and talk about a heavy lift. So just one example of many of the sacrifices that these young ladies went through to see what they could accomplish one more season, having last year taken away by the NCAA and canceling fall championships. Determination by these young ladies to come back, give it one more shot, and look where it took them to the national championship match against Tampa, in Tampa on their home court.
Maybe a chance for you to brag and boast a little bit now. Just another chance for the MIAA to kind of pound its chest a little bit. Another national championship appearance for an MIAA school too.
Like we talked about, Chris. Great fall. We had all of our team sports in regional finals, having won the regional championships in men's soccer, women's soccer, volleyball. Northwest played for the Super Region champion against a very tough Ferris State team that'll be playing in the national championship game next weekend down in Texas. So a great fall. We'd love to win national titles. That's why our teams step on the court. Student athletes come to the MIAA because they have a belief that their program will have a chance to compete for a national championship. So, second place is not what the goal is. But certainly it's a defining moment for all of these student athletes, one they'll never forget, and certainly shows and demonstrates a huge accomplishment for a program to be one of two teams left at the end of the year playing for that national title.
As we kind of turn the page on the fall season now, as we're in the middle of December and the winter sports underway, kind of already in conference play for winter sports 2 through their winter meetings for you guys are upon us. For people who don't know what those entail, I guess what do the winter meetings do for you guys?
Yeah, so we meet twice a year, at least, in person with our athletic directors and our senior women administrators and our faculty athletic representatives. They all come to Kansas City, and we have 2 days of meetings, just like any other conference in the country. Any division has either a winter meeting or a summer meeting, or like the MIAA that does both. Over the next 2 days, Chris, we're going to talk about things like the approved schedules for 23 and 2024. We're gonna receive recommendations from coaches groups in volleyball and soccer and cross country. We'll spend some time talking about NCAA issues. We'll talk about name, image, likeness. We'll have a number of discussion topics like alcohol sales on college campuses. So it's really a time for our administrators to remove their focus and their thoughts about campus activities and really come together and talk about conference policy, conference schedules, conference championships, and really provide the direction to the conference office on the things that they want to see implemented or started during this upcoming 2022 year.
Along those lines, I guess kind of heading into these meetings, what's maybe some of the biggest issues maybe the NCAA is facing that would impact the MIAA at this point? Because we know it's been changing a lot the last 6 months too.
Yeah, the focus of our discussions at this meeting are going to really be peeling back the recommendations coming out of the Constitution Committee. Those will be voted on in Indianapolis in January. All of our schools will be in attendance. All of our schools get to vote on that. And this is really a chance, I think, for us to spend some time, to really dedicate some time to some in-person discussions about these proposals, how they impact our conference, how they impact Division II, and what does this set Division II up for in the future? Where do we go from here? So we'll have all of those discussions, but really the NCAA focus at this meeting will be on the work of that Constitution Committee.
With the Constitutional Committee for the NCAA, I guess what are we looking at with in January too?
Yeah, so the Constitution right now in the NCAA manual is about 60 pages long, Chris, and it sets forth a number of guiding principles for the association. It describes how the association's organized. It provides an overview of the financial model for the NCAA and how Division II and Division III get their resources. And what the Constitution Committee has done is taken that 60 pages and they've really trimmed it. They've reorganized it. It's less than 15 pages now. And they didn't get rid of things just to get rid of stuff. They did a really thoughtful job of areas that could be combined, areas that really are no longer relevant. The last time we went through this was in the mid 1990s. So it's been 25 years since anyone really took a hard look at the Constitution. I think overall what it does for the NCAA is it creates a smaller, more nimble executive group. There will be only 9 members now on the NCAA Board of Governors. There will be a student athlete for the first time that will vote on association matters. There are a number of principles that are still maintained that must be protected by all 3 divisions, but it's not as many. And I think the thing that really is empowering for Division II, 2 things. One, we protect our constitutional guarantee of the money that we get from the CBS basketball contract. That did not get reduced. It did not go away. So we protected that, but the new structure is going to provide each division with much greater autonomy and the ability to identify and work on things as a division without having to get approval from the other two divisions. And I think that, what the type of things that might open for Division II, yet to be determined. But, one small example for many, many years, the decision on new women's sports to start or to move forward for the NCAA had to be a decision by all three divisions that we're going to start to promote women's triathlon or women's sand volleyball. And, those might not be the right sports for Division II. Those may not be the right emerging sports for women that we see on our Division II campuses. Maybe it's women's flag football. I don't know. But the new structure would give Division II the autonomy to figure those things out without having to get Division I and Division III to agree. So that's the big thing that's being voted on in January. I expect our schools are going to support all of these changes. I think they're positive for the MIAA. I think they're positive for Division II. But those are some of the things we're going to have to work through the next couple of days to make sure that we're not missing anything and no one has any big red flags or concerns that we need to look at.
Is some of this for the Constitutional Committee, what we talked about before with Division I and the Power Five, of who knows what they're going to look like in 5 to 10 years? Does some of this kind of give them some leeway too, that they're going to be more okay with staying with the group, so to speak?
I think so. I think part of what this is doing is allowing some of the concerns that you hear from the FBS level schools, the Power Five conferences. This will give them mechanisms now that they can work through those issues within the Division I structure. And we'll probably see over the next 6 to 10 months that play out, Chris, where Division I may look a lot different from the way it's organized, the way that they approve legislative proposals, the way that they share money with each other. It may look very different. And now all of that can be decided just within the Division I structure. It doesn't have to be something they worry about an association-wide vote. So I think a lot of what the Constitutional Committee has done is help Division I figure out a path forward. And obviously that's positive for Division II. We need those schools as members of the NCAA. We need to do everything we can to keep KU and Oklahoma and Nebraska as members of the NCAA and to keep them part of our higher ed association. And this constitutional vote that will take place in January, I think puts us in motion to make that happen in the next 12 months.
Sticking with the winter meetings a little bit here, name, image, likeness is heating up. And I think the last week or so, we've seen some stories coming out from Division I programs of how they're operating. I guess the name, image, likeness deals with Texas and the offensive line group. Are those things you guys have to look at as, okay, what type of NIL is this? Is this an NIL? Or what kind of goes into that now as we get deeper into this, where you have those, like the Texas offensive line group that's kind of offering the whole group when they come in or stuff like that?
Yeah, so we're going to spend a little bit of time on Tuesday late morning talking about name, image, likeness. In fact, our new partner, Open Doors, is sending their team down to have some conversations, not just about the MIAA sponsorship, but what Open Doors can do for each of our campuses. And I think you're going to see more and more activity at the Division II level. They're not going to look like these deals that you see in Division I. I think a lot of activity that'll start to occur in the spring and the summer, Chris, will relate to name, image, likeness opportunities for student athletes to find ways to start their own camps and clinics, and to make money, to monetize money off of what they've done in moving from a high school student to a decorated collegiate student athlete. They can now go back home and use some of that fame and notoriety to put on a 2-day clinic and have young kids come and meet other college student athletes and get great instruction in not just sports but life. And I think a lot of our student athletes are going to find that that's a real opportunity for them to make some money. And whether it's a camp or clinic they're doing back at their high school or something that they're doing in their college town, they can use their fame, they can use their reach, they can use their social media presence to promote that type of camp and clinic and obviously be very successful. So those are some of the things we're gonna talk about on Tuesday, just about the name, image, likeness opportunities that we see at the Division II level.
Is there still like gray area that everybody's working through with name, image, likeness? Because I brought the Texas one because there's a lot of people thinking that's not a real name, image, likeness because it's kind of through Texas, but at the same time it's back and forth. There's still like gray area of where it stops, where it can keep going, and how much the universities can be involved in it too.
Yeah, and it's a real gray area because the NCAA has said that they're not going to provide any type of educational assistance related to name, image, likeness. If you have a question, you're basically on your own. And that's why the conference went out and partnered with Empower You. The law firm Siegfried Bingham here in Kansas City started an NIL compliance initiative, Empower You. And we have to make sure that our schools, when they're thinking about a name, image, likeness opportunity for a student athlete, it not only complies with institutional policy, but it complies with state law. If you're a student athlete in Nebraska, Oklahoma, Missouri, you have a state law that you need to worry about. Our institutions have state laws that they need to worry about. And so Empower You has worked with our schools and continues to work with our schools when they get these type of questions to make sure that these gray areas, Chris, that we're doing the best we can to advise our programs, the types of things that are consistent with policy as well as state law.
And I don't think this will be a Division II thing so much, but this maybe just be a roundabout question. The NCAA doesn't seem like they're going to get too much involved in discipline of name, image, likeness. Is it going to come down to if it's a state law, if it's okay under that more than it is the NCAA realm?
Yeah, you within the last week, you've seen the NCAA come out and say there are a couple of name, image, likeness deals that they're not comfortable with. One involving University of Miami, another one that I think we've talked about before at Brigham Young University. Yeah. And the NCAA has said that they're going to investigate both of those to make sure that they are in compliance with the NCAA policies of you can't use name, image, and likeness to reward someone for their athletic skill, and you can't use it to recruit student athletes. And so they're concerned about both institutions. And I think we'll continue to see the NCAA play a role in policing this, at least as it relates to the NCAA policies. But like I said, state laws and whether or not you're complying with law, it's really an institutional conference issue. And the NCAA has said, we're hands off on whether or not you're complying with state law. And that's where we felt as a conference, we really needed to go out and find find some attorneys that could provide us some guidance.
One more question on name, image, likeness, and we'll move. I know we talked about name, image. I'm sure people are tired of us talking about NILs at this point, but it's kind of a tricky thing from a student athlete's perspective. I guess would it be when you hear that, for being a student athlete, I can get my brand built, but the NCAA is making, from their perspective, it's you can't have this for your athletic performance. Is that kind of like a weird thing for student athletes maybe to process of, wait, where's this line? This is where, like you said, Empower You comes into play, but on the ground, at 10,000 feet level, it just kind of feels like a lot of maybe mixed signals for student athletes of, wait, where's this line at here?
Yeah, it's very hard. And that's why with Empower You, we've done a few student athlete webinars. And we're trying to educate our student athletes as much as we can. The first thing we tell them is when you have an opportunity, you need to visit with your compliance officer on campus. In fact, state law in all 3 states, Kansas doesn't have a state law signed by the governor yet, but Missouri, Oklahoma, and Nebraska, state law requires a student to notify their school and have conversations with the institution about a name, image, likeness opportunity before they sign a contract. And so we're helping our student athletes the best we can to really navigate a very complex and complicated area. And Open Doors is a great partner. We talked about them. They have a platform, Chris, where it's really like a job board of name, image, likeness opportunities that student athletes can access. And I know a lot of our student athletes are very active. It's easy to develop a profile. It's easy to search through and look at opportunities that you think you might be interested in. And then it's easy to take those if you get selected and chosen to your institution compliance officer and say, here's what they're asking me to do. Is this okay? Can I sign up for it? So Open Doors and Empower You are both great resources that our institutions continue to work with. And I think it's why we've seen early on the MIAA have success in this space. And why is that important? This is the area, Chris, that recruiting battles and wars are going to be fought. A decade or 2 ago, it was facilities and how nice is your weight room and what do your locker rooms look like? And now student athletes at all levels, including the NAIA, want to talk about, well, what can I do with my name, image, likeness? How can you help me as a student athlete make sure that I'm maximizing opportunities I have in NIL? And as I've mentioned, the MIAA, we want it to be seen as the destination for students that want to win championships, get a great education, and maximize their name, image, likeness opportunities.
Last question with the winter meetings, and then we'll get out of here on that part. We'll move forward to a couple other quick topics, but football schedules, is that going to be brought up at all? I know it's a highly debated topic across the league. I know the last couple of times it's been a 5-5 dead heat of, do we open it? Do we keep it closed? I'm sure that's going to be probably brought up again in the future too.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. That is on the schedule for, we'll talk about it actually this evening when we meet, and then the athletic administrators will have a chance to approve it tomorrow. But yeah, it's always a topic of do we open the schedule or do we keep it closed? And we'll have that debate tonight. And I got out of the business of predicting schedule issues a couple of years ago, so we'll see where it goes. But I think certainly the opportunity that we had this year to put 3 teams into the playoffs with a closed schedule certainly adds some fuel to the debate for those that want to maintain a closed schedule and continue to do what we're doing. And you need a lot of things to break your way. But if you've got 3 quality football teams that are deserving in the playoffs, like we saw this year, the selection committee did the right thing and provided that opportunity to 3 MIAA schools. So more to come, but that'll be on the agenda for tonight's meeting.
Want to get you out of here with a couple of quick things. I know we're running out of time here. We see all the time, and you guys announced one today too, the corporate support you guys get from the Kansas City area. Just how big is that? And I mean, number one, your office is in Kansas City, so that's probably a big reason. But how much does that help you guys in the Kansas City area and kind of keep things in Kansas City too?
I like to tell our schools and potential corporate partners that the support of regional and Kansas City businesses help the MIAA be big time. And, what I mean by that is that, without the sponsorship and partnership with Citizens Bank We may not be able to conduct our basketball tournament at Municipal Auditorium without the support of Siegfried Bingham law firm. We may not be able to do basketball and football media days like we do them. Without the support of Hush Blackwell law firm, we may not be able to do an MIAA Hall of Fame awards event at the music hall like we do it. And, I've had a number of coaches that have been in Division I conferences, and whether it's a basketball tournament or media day or our awards event, they tell me it's big time, that we're doing things like big conferences do it. And, that's what I want. I want to hear that. I want the MIAA to be big time. And, I don't I don't try to keep up with, what other Division II and III conferences are doing. I keep up with what other Division I conferences are doing. And we're going to deliver that same type of experience in Division II. And today we announced the extension of our partnership with Hollis Miller, a Kansas City-based education and sports facilities architect firm. I think they're the best in the business. Recent projects in the MIAA include the redesign of the Northwest Missouri State football locker room. They know what they're doing, and those are the type of quality partners: Hollis Miller, McGowan Gordon Construction, Mammoth Turf, companies that are headquartered in and around Kansas City, but have a national reach, a national reputation, and want to work with our member schools. Makes me proud that those are the type of companies that the MIAA gets to work with.
As we wind down here, wild weekend of MIAA basketball. Number one, Fort State women.
Wow.
Nebraska Kearney, the Central Missouri Western women's game. Just when we thought MIAA wasn't going to be any more tough or tougher, I guess you could say, if that's the right word I'm using there. I don't know. English was not my best subject, but it should be. It's a wild, right. I'm talking for a living and I can't talk. So here we are. Anyway,
I know what you mean.
Yeah,
Chris.
you know what I mean. But there's always someone that's like, he's not saying words right at all. He's struggling. But wow, almost lost my train of thought too. Wild
Basketball.
weekend. Basketball. Wild. I know polls rankings don't mean much in December, but still, we're going to probably see quite a few MIAA schools in there pretty quickly, if not more too.
Well, we knew how tough the conference was and has been the last several years. I think it was last year, Chris, we had a different school win our conference regular season, conference tournament, and the regional tournament. 3 different schools won each of those championship trophies. And I was trying to follow the action from Tampa the best I could. And,
Good luck.
Fort Hays State, number 1 in the country, gets beat by Kearney. We have a couple of overtime games. Missouri Western, I think maybe off to their best start. They're undefeated in the conference. They just got a big victory in overtime against UCM. So it's going to be a crazy, wild, fun, exciting year in women's MIAA basketball. And I think, how this plays out, whoever comes out of our conference is going to be well prepared for a run in the regional championship and hopefully onto some success in the Elite Eight. But the MIAA looks like it's women's basketball is as crazy and as talented as it's ever been.
Not too many games this week. There's still a few conference games on the schedule this week. We have Northwest Missouri Western here at the end of the week. But after that, there's kind of that week off for MIAA Division II. Why is that I guess a Division II makes sure that there is that week off of getting away for a little bit and maybe spending the holidays with your family too?
Yeah, it's something that I'm very proud that we're the only division in the NCAA that provides our staff and student athletes an entire week off around the Christmas holiday and a chance for coaches and administrators to spend time with family, and a chance for student athletes to get back home and see their family. And I was part of that, Chris, when that got put in place when I was working at the NCAA about 12 to 15 years ago. And it really is consistent with the philosophy in Division II about a balanced student experience. We talk about in Division II, life in the balance. And, this is one of those examples where we actually live what we're talking about, to give student athletes, whether you're out of season, a baseball player or a football student athlete, or a basketball student athlete that takes a break during the middle of their season, we felt that, this is a time of year when people need to be around their family and friends and not necessarily focused on their sport. And I think our coaches have really enjoyed it. And Chris, the ones that I think most benefit from are the people behind the scenes that people don't see a lot of recognition for. Our sports information directors, our trainers. When our student athletes are in season and on campus, they've got to be there. And by taking a week off, our SIDs and our trainers that are some of the hardest working people in the MIAA, they get some time to be around their families and to recharge their batteries. So it's a great thing that we have in the MIAA. It's something that exists in all of Division II and only Division II, and it's something I'm very proud of.
Get you out of here on this. Any special presents you're asking for Christmas this year?
I'm a Packer fan, a Green Bay Packer fan. So
nice.
A number one seed and a rematch with Tom Brady and the Buccaneers in the NFC Championship would be a nice present from Santa for 2022. So, but really, I'll just be thankful, Chris. I'll be home with my wife, and all three of my sons will be back home, and we'll get a chance to spend time together. And that's really the only present I need is to be around the people I love. And I wish everyone out there, happy holidays from the MIAA. 2021 has been a crazy year, but also a fantastic year for the conference, and we're looking forward to 2022 as well.
Hey, my dad's a Packers fan. I was rooting for Chiefs Packers last year in the Super Bowl because that would have been fantastic.
Let's do it.
That's what I wanted last year, just because of the offense. I'm more of an offensive guy, so sorry, defensive coaches. But Mahomes, Rodgers, Super Bowl. Hey, if we can get it this year, let's do it.
Let's do it. That'd be great. Yep, let's plan on it.
MIAA Commissioner Mike Racy, thank you as always.
You bet, Chris. Thank you. Good to see you.
Good to see you.